Hi there and welcome to the Gobbo's Grotto. This might be a bit weird sound wise because I'm outside, because I'm going to show you how I'm doing the grayscale for the Zombicide models that I'm doing. I've already, let me get these up here, primed them black. I've sanded the bases so it's a nice generic base. I'm not going to do anything exciting. But yeah, I sanded the bases and I've painted the whole model black with a rattle can spray primer, and then I'm just going to do a rattle can grayscale. So it's not going to be with an airbrush, which is what is probably the best way. But I don't have an airbrush, so this is for people who don't own airbrushes. I've never tried an airbrush, so I wouldn't know how I'd get on with one. Essentially, I'm just using some cheap primer. This is a grey. I only use this one because I find that it works really well. It's just as good as Games Workshop stuff, and half the price, so I don't bother. So excuse me if this is a little bit disjointed because of the it's not a GoPro, it's actually my phone, but on a rig around my neck. I'm not going to show you that. So what we've done is we've done the black prime all over so that it's all covered. A little bit of paint on that one, so excuse me. Right, so we're going to do it from an angle. There's probably better videos out there, but this is just so you can see what I've done with regard to the Zombicide zombies. So I've taken a selection and I'm just going to go from here, which is about 8 to 10 inches away. I'm just going to give them a spray, and I'm at an angle as well so that I'm spraying down to try and create a shadow. We're fairly far away and we're giving them, just trying to keep you in camera, giving them a couple of little blasts as well. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it look like there's a light source above, which in most cases is going to be the sun, but it could be street lights or whatever, and it's creating shadow. We're going for grayscale because what I want to do, just going to go around the back of them to get both sides, is get the old Romero Dawn of the Dead kind of thing, Night of the Living Dead, classic black and white but with a touch of colour, or just sort of bleached out black and white look to the zombies. I'm going to do something slightly different for the heroes, but for the zombies I want, and because there's just so many of them and this is the easy and quick way to do them, I thought I would do, excuse me, I'll put the lid back on and we'll de-hook the camera, and you can see, hopefully you can start to see, I'm not going to touch them because they need to dry, that underneath each model, it's probably not great in this light, there is a dark shadow where the black is, and that the grey has formed a kind of highlight. And there you go. So that's the first part of it. I'm going to let it dry for 20 minutes and then I'll come back. Okay, so this is the second part of this video, just to show you the next stage, which is just the very top highlight. It's still using rattle cans because I do want to get through these guys. So here we go. I'm just going to use again the spray, so matte white, and because this is the final kind of highlight, what we're going to do is just go right at the very top, and we're almost going to be vertically above it, so we're kind of here, which is about I don't know, 15 inches away, and it's going to be a very top highlight, very briefly, splattering each one at the top, so it looks like the sun is directly coming down, and you can just, you will be able to see on the models when I get closer. And it's typical that every time I start to spray, the wind is kind of taking the paint. So again, really briefly, and very much from a vertical point of view, so that we get a top highlight, still leave those very low lights black, the very low points black, and grey in the mid-tone. This is a very quick way of doing it because obviously if you wanted to represent something like that was a bit too over white now, just add in those extra highlights. Someone wearing very light clothing, because this is kind of looks very generic, it's like all the clothing is almost the same colour. Let's just get that away. If you wanted to do, say, for someone wearing a white t-shirt, you would actually have to do some parts of it whiter, so you can go in and then highlight them again. So this is the overall look, and you could sort of stop there really, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to stop there. I'm going to add some extra finishing points to it, so that will come at a different time and on a different video. So we'll just we'll do progress videos. So we'll go from black to grey to the top highlights, and then we'll do another video on the extra bits, the extra miles that we're going to go. So I'm going to spray up the rest of these models, and I'll be right back. Hi there, and welcome to Garbo's Grotto. This is I think the third part, so I might just stitch these together. We've come inside for the Zombicide models after doing the grayscales outside the rattle cans. If you remember, we just had a black prime model, and we then which you can see here, and then we primed it black, and then we did a mid-tone green, and then a grey, and then a white highlight on top, all sprayed down, and this is what we've got. So that is fine as it is. You can quite easily get away with that, and if you've got over 50 odd models, which is what the Zombicide franchise is, excuse me while it's going all blurry. For some reason it's zooming in on the wrong thing. Then that's fine. You could do hundreds and you're done really, just tidy up the bases. But for me, I just like to get rid of some of this kind of grainy feel, like spotty feel. The grainy feel's fine because you know, it's meant to be like those 60s, 70s black and white horror films. But I just want to tidy it up a little bit. So what I've done is I've got some charcoal grey from Humbrol, which is what I use for a really, really dark grey, and a lot of matte medium. So a lot of medium and obviously matte, and a lot of water. So I'm going to make a glaze. So I've got these kind of pre-mixed here. It's a lot of medium. So it's about 80% medium to paint, and a lot of water. So I'm adding all of this together because I want to get a very thin glaze, because I don't want to destroy the highlights that I've produced with the rattle cans. So loads and loads of water. We're just adding, I wish I had a dropper now. Loads and loads of water. I'm hurrying up because I've got very little storage of my videos left on my camera. So just have a quick look. That's perfect, I think. So what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly, this looks sacrilege to some of these painters, professional painters. So just move it around all over. This is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I want to cover the entire miniature. So it's going to bring the whole miniature together and not look so disjointed. So it's really thin. Really thin. And it should just flow nicely. I would say people will be horrified that I just being really lavish with it. Miniature painters cringing around the world. But I like to use liberal shades. I mean, you can like build up shades and stuff like that. And you can still do that. There's nothing to stop you doing that. I'm going to go all the way over, and I'm going to include the base in this as well, which I don't normally do with miniature painting, but for this particular style, I'm going to do the base as well, because it just ties the whole model together and gives us that feel. So just going to cover the base. And because it's a very, very thin glaze, you can repeat the steps as often as you want to build up sort of darker areas. So if you feel like you're not, I like to get a lot of depth on the face to try and bring out the detail on the face. So it kind of takes away the high highlights, but it does blend all of those highlights, lowlights, etc. together. So that again, if it just focuses, there we go. That again could be your finished model. Absolutely fine. So again, just like you can put extra, sorry, just to go back, you can put extra shade in the creases and underneath to give extra shade and stuff like that. But again, very quick, got 50, 60 models. You want to get that done really quickly. So that could be your finished model, but it's not going to be for us. So I'm going to just pop that down there for now. What you can do now is just add a very quick edge highlight. So this is a miniature where the glaze has gone on. Again, just be nice if this focus, what an awful focus this thing has. So that's the one where the glaze has gone on. And it just kind of brought the model, tied the model together. So what I'm going to do is just going to get some, just ordinary white. Right, apologies for the weird glip, but I've taken the plate away to clean it because my phone ran out of storage, so I had to cut some bits out. So, as we were saying, you could leave that miniature as it was, and just that's it. Just bulk paint them that way. But what I've done instead is I'm doing a white edge highlight, just to bring the. We've already taken the white out by blending it with the glaze, but if we want to bring out some proper detail around the face, for example, and the tops of the head, arms, some of these bulges here are good as well, and the edge of the dress / tutu, then a white dry brush will bring out a lot of good kind of detail that you could potentially lose. So I'm not going to touch the base with it at all because the base is as I want it to be. I want it to be quite unobtrusive, but I am going to bring around all of those details I want to bring out, like the little kind of pustules at the back of the arms there, the fat rolls, and the folds in the dress, tutu, whatever it is. Again, we're not going to try and get rid of any of the shadow because that, like underneath, we're not going to do any of that because that we don't want to highlight. We want to leave that in the shadow. That's the purpose of the grayscale. So that's all it is. A really, 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 really light dry brush. And you can build up and build up and build up to whatever kind of degree you want to. And that really is as easy as it gets. And you can do this probably in a single session. So from start to finish, doing each miniature takes about, without drying time, about 3 minutes. So with drying time hours, but without drying time, about 3 minutes. So spray, 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 and then a little glaze and then an edge highlight, and you've got that. I haven't quite finished yet because the base needs to be painted. So all I've done is I've taken the charcoal and I've added a charcoal band around the base. So that's a completed miniature to a degree. Again, I'm not completely completed because I want to spray the whole lot. I'm going to do that as a batch though to save my spray, and then I'm going to add some blood. and that will add the only splash of colour, and I'm deliberately leaving that as a splash of colour to the miniature, and I'm using Tamiya Clear for that. So what it will do is it will add that splash of colour to the horde, and then once I've started doing that, I will show you the horde when it's complete. But for now, these are playable as they are. They need to be varnished to protect them, which we'll do before we add the blood, which is why I haven't added the blood to this miniature, because otherwise it will dull down. Okay, another weird clip, because again I'm running out of storage. So I'm just going to wrap this up. So next time you see these, they will be sprayed, and they'll be protective varnished, and then we'll be adding blood to them so you can see that. But for now, my name is Andy from the Gobbo's Grotto, and I will see you next time. Hello there. So I was going to do this as a separate video, but actually I've smashed through this so much today that I've actually done 50 odd figures in a day. So it's just, I've managed to spray them with a matte varnish. So you can see no difference. So the last thing I wanted to do is, although this is grayscale, I wanted to add a splash of colour just to give it a pop, and that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to add some blood. What zombie would be any good without blood? So I've got Tamiya Clear Red, which is what I use for fresh blood, and just going to let that focus. So I'm going to be quite liberal with this because of the size of the model. So I could do it quite subtly, and I have done it on some of the other models, and I'll show you in a minute. I've finished the whole lot. But because of the nature of these particular zombies, they're called fatties in the game, which is a bit gross, but that's what they're actually called. So blame Simon rather than me. I'm going to look like they've gorged on the flesh of humans. So actually, I'm going to be really liberal. So all around the mouth, all around so it looks like they're absolutely just drenched. And I just want to do it so it looks like it's been like poured down her throat pretty much, and it's dripped onto the floor. So some on the base as well. And of course, she didn't dive in head first. She must have used the hands. So this time what I'm doing is just going to cover the palms, because that's where, she's going to grasp. It's no good just doing the sort of dorsal side of the hand, the upper side of the hand. So, and then just draw it back so it flex up a little bit. And then the same on the side. So on the palmar side, and then the dorsal side of the hand. And then up the forearms as well. So it looks like she's had her hands deep inside another human to gorge on their flesh. So that's the whole of it. I'm just going to put the lid on this because it dries out really quickly. So sorry for coming off the camera for very quickly. Yeah, so it looks a bit overdone maybe, but it definitely makes it pop. And when you add her to the horde of already done zombies, which I'm going to do very carefully so that I don't get the Tamiya on my hands. I'm just going to bring the tray down here that I've got here, and we've got a very Romero style of zombie, black and white, with the Tamiya that's popped. So there are the rest of the gluttons. As you can see, sorry, I'm just going to try and straighten out. And there's my favourite ones at the back with the enders nigh. Some of them are a bit more subtle than others. So what I've done here on this one is just a trail of blood. So it looks like she's stepped in it. Others, again, just hints of mouth. And I think actually the less is a bit more on the smaller figures, these base zombies. So that really is it. I wasn't going to finish them off, but I thought, you know what? It's not taking me that long to get to this point. So why not just push on the extra? Painting time total for all of these zombies, I don't know, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours. The rest of the time it's been drying. Okay, so that's me done. And my name is Andy from the Gobbo's Corso, and I hope you've enjoyed this video.